Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and we have some breaking news out of Montreal, as the Montreal Canadiens have signed Kirby Dach. They're one of their newest additions to the roster this season. Oh, mouthful. 4-year deal, $13.45 million contract going to Kirby Dach. The annual cap hit is $3.362 million per season. It's a base salary at $2.5 million this season, and the contract kind of moves around. It's Montreal's way of circumventing their current cap situation. It'll be $4.1 million total salary for Dach next year, $2.85 million in year 3, and it goes back up to $4 million base salary to Kirby Dach. So overall, a kind of interesting deal in that sense. Usually we see a contract where it's either very front-loaded and kind of lowers as the years go along, or in this case, a younger player where the contract kind of elevates as he gets older. I don't necessarily know why Kirby Dach would even accept a deal like this, but I guess he's looking at it as maybe this is part of the reason that the contract took so long to get to. And I think that's kind of what ended up happening here. There is no trade protection here for Kirby Dach in the deal, at least at the time of this video. And I think we're looking at a spot where, I think this is a good contract, right? A little over $3 million. This is a prove-it deal. He's going back up to Canada. He's from Fort Saskatchewan, so he's a little bit further west. So I wouldn't say he's a hometown native of Montreal, but he's back up in Canada. He's going to get another opportunity to kind of rejigger his career there. It's a tough environment, though. There is no breaks in Montreal. This is a big contract for him, and I'm excited. I want to see Kirby Dach succeed. He's had a lot of injury issues in Chicago, which is, I think, a huge part of the reason they decided to let him go. But there is still potential there. I mean, this is a kid that was drafted top 5 in the NHL draft just a few years ago. I mean, you look, the 2019 NHL draft, he was selected 3rd overall. If you guys go back to that draft, you guys know the 2 guys that were drafted ahead of him, both pretty good hockey players, but are still kind of in their own right trying to develop at this level. You have Jack Hughes and Kaapo Kakko. So when you look at it in that sense, you even look at some of the guys, that top 5, right? Hughes, Kakko, Dach, Byram, Turcotte, and Moritz Seider. And of those 6, Moritz Seider is probably the best of them right now, right? And Bowen Byram's still coming into his own. Hughes, Kakko. So when you look at his peers, he's not necessarily behind yet, right? You have to remember, he's 21 years old. So to even say that he's a bust at this point is just laughable. I'm really excited to see what he provides in Montreal. He's probably going to be more of a second, third line guy. The Habs have a lot of depth down the middle now, which you couldn't have said even a year ago. So I'm really excited to see what the Habs are capable of. But there is still some concerns about this team, and I'll talk about that throughout the season, of course. But I'm excited. I think, Kirby Dach is a guy that's a little different in the mold of Montreal players. I wonder if he's going to be a little bit more of more of his power forward side comes out in Montreal, because in Chicago, he really wasn't that type of player. He was more of the guy that, it was almost like, it was like putting a buffalo into a tuxedo at a fancy restaurant, right? And not expecting that to not work. Like, you can make it work, but you're kind of force-fitting the issue. And, I'm looking, according to Daily Faceoff, which is a pretty good source here, they're saying for the lineup, right now Kirby Dach is listed as the 3rd-line center, and he's going to be playing with some veteran players that can produce, right? Evgeny Dadonov and Brendan Gallagher, both those guys can play at the National Hockey League level, and like I said, good mentors for him, especially Gallagher. And you look at the second-line center, I mean, it's Christian Dvorak, and you could argue he could even get ahead of Christian Dvorak by the time this season begins. So going into training camp, I would say he's a 3rd-line guy, but very easily could end up being on the 2nd line as well. Great pickup for Kent Hughes. Great pickup for the Montreal Canadiens organization in general. I know it costed them a pretty penny, but I think they're going to be happy with what he provides to this roster. So guys, let me know what you think down below. What do you think of the Montreal Canadiens signing Kirby Dach to a 4-year deal, a little over $3.3 million per season? Of course, let me know what you guys think. If you agree with the move, if you disagree, open to the debate down below. Thank you so much for watching, and let's go Habs.